Pepino, and welcome to Fit for You, the show that teaches you how to live a healthier and more fit lifestyle. Today, I'm going to pull another chapter from Dr. Roizen's newest book. This is your do-over. And Dr. has a couple of points in here that are really important that we don't think about when we think about living a healthier and more fit lifestyle. One of them is managing stress, which we've addressed in another show. And today we're going to talk about finding your passion. Why is that so important? Because if you aren't finding your passions, you're going to have a difficult time maintaining the motivation and what I'm going to refer to as the discipline to live a healthier and more fit lifestyle. When you can reach into your inner self and you can find what excites you, and you can have many passions, you're going to find your life much more fulfilled, much more enriched, and you're probably going to look and feel a lot more fabulous. I will be joined by my dear friend and one of my go-to people, Memo. I hope you enjoy the show. So as I was thinking about how can I help my audience find their passion and their purpose, or if you have found it, how you can expand upon it. And I decided I would go to my go-to person and someone who I truly adore, my dear friend Memo. Hi, Ro.
Hi.
Thanks for being here again. We love you.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure to be with you as always.
Thanks, Ro. And just for our audience to remind them, if you've seen Ro before and if you haven't, she has her master's plus the 30-plus program towards a clinical doctorate in counseling.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's called an LPCC, which is Licensed Practical Clinical Counseling, which allows me to have a private practice as well as working in community agencies or a school, which I've not done schoolwork, but I've worked with a lot of young people.
Well, today we want you to counsel us on how we can find our passion and our purpose so that it can motivate us and drive us to live a healthier and more fit lifestyle for the rest of our lives.
Well, let's clarify that, because as I was talking to people about what I was going to do with you today, their eyes raised and they thought it was going to be something other than what it really is. It is not sensual. It is not sexual. We're not going to be counseling people that way. We're going to find the true self of someone and the passion that drives them to connect with their family, connect with friends, and connect with the community and a support system.
I think everyone has a special gift, and so many people don't realize it. And it amazes me when I ask, especially women, what is your passion? What is your purpose? They can't answer me. They can't give me one. As you know, people can have several passions, but they can't, a lot of people, most people can't answer that question quickly.
No, because life is complicated today for men and women. Women have a more difficult time because they are more the caretakers in the home, but I know of husbands and fathers who are just as much caretakers in the home as their spouses. We have single women with children and they're working outside the home, so they know what their kids want. They all know what their kids want to eat. They all know what their kids want to do. They all know what their spouse, if they're married, what helps them feel good about themselves. But they lose themselves because life is busy and complicated. All you have to do is drive up and down 224 and see what is happening with young people today on the weekends. They're involved in 2 or 3 activities: baseball, football, swimming, all in the same season. And parents are running from thing to thing to thing to satisfy their children's needs. And many times they get lost in the process.
And I see, and I'm going to take it another step with single people, because I see them. I have to please my boss. Yes. I have to please maybe my parents or my family or family members. I have to please my friends. And there again, they can tell you what others' passions and possible purposes are, but they don't stop and think about their own.
Well, and we live in the sandwich generation. You know, in our age group, we are taking care of our children and maybe our grandchildren and our parents that are ailing. And so we have so many obligations, and guilt plays a big part in all of it.
Oh, so true.
Yes, that, you know, I have to do this. I call it the shoulda, woulda, coulda things. We should do this. If we did this, we would be doing that. We could do this, but we're still so busy doing that. And we feel a lot of guilt, so we lose ourselves in trying to satisfy everyone else. Work today for men, the workplace is tough. A lot of men are losing jobs.
And women.
And women. And so they are trying to do whatever it takes to hold down a job, to support their families. And oftentimes they don't even think in terms of what would be my purpose outside of work? What would pleasure me outside of work, other than my family? So work first, family, and then there's no time left over for themselves.
And let's start with, you're going to find your passion and your purpose. And it can be a few, it could be one thing, it could be several things. Because, for example, for me, it's my work, it's my family, it's my health and fitness passion, it is my friends. There are several things that I derive joy from at different times of day and the other side of it is there are times when, I'm buried, it's very stressful. I mean, you can't be enjoying yourself 24/7.
Right.
So now we get into the Rose favorite word of balance.
Yes, and I think we are losing some of that balance. And I think you have to think about that. How do I incorporate balance into my life and into my children's lives? Because you are their role model. You are teaching them how to put balance in their life. So they're going to learn from looking at you.
And I think you can do that with friends. I think you can do that with family. I know I am a great giver sometimes, and I'm a great receiver at other times because I have other people in my life that definitely play a role that will say, hey, well, Mayor, slow down, or Mayor, did you think about that? So I think it's important that you open up to, and that's probably a good place to go to the next part of this conversation. Centering yourself and opening up to, okay, so how do I find what my passions are? I really don't know. So let's talk about step one. Take a deep breath, center yourself. What do we do?
Well, I think you center yourself. We all do it a little differently. And I think you need to meditate. If you like to meditate, I like to pray. And when I pray, I get messages as to what is good for me. Everyone has a little different mechanism, and that's that intrinsic piece, what comes from inside my soul. And I think as we get older, we lose some of, you mentioned, special gifts. Even if you had a special gift that you wanted to foster, maybe you didn't foster it. Maybe it's time now to look at that special gift. And a lot of people say, well, I'm too old for that. You're never too old to learn.
Oh, never.
Never too old to learn. Never too old to foster something that you thought you might have liked to do. But you have to go inside of yourself and center and find an idea.
Well, and I want to start with two things. When we talk about meditation, it could be the very simple process of get yourself into a nice little quiet place. You can go up, go into your bedroom, go into your bathroom, go somewhere where you can shut the door, be by yourself, close your eyes, relax, take some deep breaths, and just start to think about what calms you, what you enjoy. It could be, for me, it's a beautiful body of water, or it's knowing that I've helped somebody I love, or knowing that I've put a smile maybe on somebody's face. There are so many things, but it's just, that can be the simple start of meditation. It doesn't have to be a big fancy thing, number one. And number two, I want people to think about, what do you enjoy? Like, my mother enjoyed ironing. I hated ironing. And my mother, she enjoyed cleaning at times. And but so if those are things that bring you joy, that's fabulous. It doesn't have to be, I climbed, Mount Everest. It could be very simple gifts that you have for doing something really love that bring you inspiration or bring you calm or bring a smile to your face.
Well, my mother enjoys cleaning. And so consequently, when she's stressed, when she needs to release some of her uncomfortable energy, she starts cleaning. And by the time she's done cleaning, she has some new ideas in her head as to what she should be doing. And she gets a clean house to boot.
There you go.
So yes, I think whatever motivates you, and that's what that intrinsic piece is, what motivates you. And so that is a critical piece to planning. And I think sometimes it's just laying in bed for an extra 5 minutes in the morning, taking a deep breath and saying, how do I want my day to go today? What do I want to do today? And just taking a few minutes in the morning.
You gave me that piece of advice many years ago, and it has probably been one of the most helpful things I have incorporated into my lifestyle, because first of all, it balances you, and it does make you think about, okay, how am I going to start? What am I going to do? It's not like I'm getting up and going to run in 20 directions.
Right.
It balances you, and I think about, okay, these are the things I have to do, but these are the things I want to do, so now I can balance the wants, the things I enjoy, with the things that maybe I have to do, and it makes the have to so much better.
Well, it does, and I use 3 things to kind of, as my barometer, my needs, what I need to do for the day. And that may be many of my responsibilities, taking care of a grandchild or taking care of my mother or running some errands or working that day. And then there are things that I want to do. And those are the extra little things. And then the last thing is the things I desire to do. Maybe the icing on the cake that time may not allow, but as long as I get my needs met and some of my wants met, maybe 1 or 2 of the desires can fall into that as well. If I wake up in the morning and say, I have nothing else that's on my schedule for the day, guaranteed my day will fill up with everyone else's needs.
It does, and you don't even realize it.
Exactly. So you have to make a plan.
That's where I was going, because I know that's one of your next favorite things to must-dos. Make a plan.
You have to make a plan, and you have to make a plan daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. I mean, you need to look at the whole year as to what we're going to do. If you have kids, you need to make a plan for your kids. What are you going to do this season and next season? And you have to balance it all so you're not so frazzled that there's not enough time for any of you to find joy, gratitude, connections with people that you love. And I think we're in a really bad spot in this country especially, where we're running here and there and we don't have a plan for our family, we don't have a plan for kids, we don't have a self-plan. And I think that's important. I think women especially, and we talked about that in the very beginning, we're so in tune to being caretakers, givers, that we lose ourselves in the plan. There is no plan for us. And we think it will come sometime in our life. I'm a mother and a grandmother. It never comes unless you plan it out.
And I think it's good for everyone around you when they see that you have a plan, and sometimes you have to say no or we'll postpone it and do it a little bit later because I need some me time. And they see you with me time, and then they think about, and you can teach them. You need to have me time. Your kids need me time. Your spouse or your significant other or your friends, whomever. Everybody needs some me time every day.
And that's setting boundaries, which, and I've said this in other programs, I'm not real great with setting boundaries, but I'm learning about it a little bit more, and I'm saying, all right, what do I need to do for me? And setting a boundary is not only for me, but it's teaching everyone around me, and that's a good thing for them to be setting boundaries and being able to say no.
You taught me about boundaries, and there again, it was probably one of the most important lessons I learned, because I would feel so guilty. And that led me to being able to implement my passions, because I was learning anew what some of my passions were, but I wasn't allowing myself to find time for them, to enjoy them, to experience them. And I love the word experience, because I think in our life today, one of the things that we can do, that we have control over, is create experiences that will have wonderful memories. You know, make little things in it. Cooking a meal can be an experience if you make it a family, or with a dear friend, or with a spouse or significant other. We think an experience has to be some grandiose thing, and it really doesn't. An experience can be something wonderful and simple, but doing it where it's bringing you joy. People are going to think I'm crazy, but sometimes running on a treadmill is a great experience for me, because when I'm going in 20 directions, that's all right, stop. Get on the treadmill. I get in my head. I start to relax, then I start to think clearly through some things. Now I'm learning how to make a healthy and fit tip part of my life, that the result is my passion. I can honestly tell you, I don't think running on a treadmill is my passion, but the result is my passion. So I know that little bit of effort is so worth it, because then I get the joy of experiencing my passion of feeling great and looking better.
Well, and that's where you said just a few minutes ago, the connectedness with people. I like to walk, but I really don't like to walk alone every morning. But I have a dear friend that motivates me, and she will call, and that's that extrinsic or external motivation that's a real positive thing. We both like to walk, we talk, we get a cup of coffee, we walk home, and we've gotten 3 miles in without even thinking about it. So I need that connectedness to someone. My dancing, my 13 friends, I'm the 14th, we foster each other's dance, but we also, because we're there together, there's a connectedness. If I were dancing alone and I just had an individual lesson, I don't think it would be quite as fun as it is with a group of people. Now, I don't do it just because of that. One, I get physical activity, and that's my balancing. You have to do something physical. Mentally, my dancing, we have to remember all of those steps in sequence, and so I think it's helping prevent a little bit of Alzheimer's for me.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I think so. And then emotionally, we know about each other's lives, and we talk to each other, and we like each other. It's a group that is really bonded. And then spiritually, when I walk out of there, my spiritual cup is full. It has satisfied every one of my needs. It's an hour and a half, so I'm not really taking away much time from everyone else. And I can go whether if I want to on Tuesday and Friday. If I can't go, I can miss a day. I don't want to miss a day, because it fills up every part of my passions, the things that I love to do. So we've grown so much that now we perform for different groups, and that's always fun, and we always have an extra practice before a performance. Now we've said, well, gee, maybe we should do lunch together once a month to celebrate everyone's birthday. And so, again, it keeps filling up that cup of mine that just keeps running over with passion and fun and my spirit.
And you didn't realize dance was a passion of yours, which is where I'm going to go now, which is so another question, so how do I find my passion? You've got to be open and try things.
Yeah,
don't say no to opportunities. And you may try 4 of them and think, I really don't like that one. No, I don't like that one. Oh, but wait, I loved this one.
Exactly.
So how did you start to dance?
Well, I danced as a child, and I danced at different times throughout life, even through college with Tony Romeo. And so I always liked dance, but life got in the way of me dancing. I wasn't going to go to Broadway and dance, that's for sure. I wasn't going to do it professionally. I really didn't want to do it as a career. So there were 46 years that I didn't dance, other than at weddings and graduations and parties. And I loved to dance, but I never thought about going back and doing tap, ballet, and jazz until this opportunity surfaced. I heard about it. And I thought, well, I have a bad knee. Will I be able to do all of those things? And Judy Conti said, if you can count, you can dance. You count one day, you can dance. And I thought, I'm going to give it a try. Now, some women in the class did have to leave for a while because of illnesses, surgeries, and they've come back. Some of them chose not to come back, that it really wasn't for them. And that's the point with finding a passion. You open the door, you walk through. If it's for you, you will know it.
You feel it inside.
Yes, and you don't have to be perfect at it. We are not going to be asked to perform in New York or anywhere else. But nursing homes and community groups love having us perform, and we have a good time with it, and we really enjoy each other, and we make mistakes. And that's the piece of finding your passion. You don't have to be perfect. We live in a pretty perfect world. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to do it.
Right, and I think so many times we avoid something because, oh, I can't be as good as that person. I can't. And I love, and I've said it so many times on the show, when I start a new type of exercise, I don't care how great a shape I'm in. I'm not very good at it because I have to learn it and I have to learn the movements. And there are some things like spinning that's great exercise. I hate spinning. You're not going to love every aspect of an industry or a category. And just because you're really awesome at some component of a category doesn't mean you're going to love every aspect of it. So there again, you may not like spinning, but that doesn't mean don't try an aerobics class or don't try a Pilates class or don't try, because you're going to find something you connect to.
Well, and you have to be patient with yourself. And give yourself time to learn the activity. You know, day one, I think women were overwhelmed with Judy Conti, and when she was teaching us tap, ballet, and jazz and different steps. And so there is a lag, I call it the lag time, that you have to give yourself time to learn a new skill. You can't sit down and play the piano the first day, but you can play a few chords, and with each lesson that you take, it may become a passion that you do want to continue on with. You have to give yourself time to learn whatever skill it is. Even if you have no skills, you start.
Everybody has skills. It's finding them.
It's finding the
skill. You have your gift.
Or finding what you might like to build on. You may never have danced before. You may not know what a shuffle or a ball change is. But if you're willing to give it some time to learn it, anybody can do it. Anyone can do it. Now, if you have special skills, that is, and everyone has their own talent, you might say, gee, I'd like to get back to that. I'd like to get back to swimming, or I'd like to get back to, I'm going to take a cooking course. I really want to do that, not only for my family and for my friends, but I really like being in the kitchen, creating.
Do it for you.
Creating.
Yes. I want to talk about because we find, and especially in our area, golf is such a big deal. And I don't want to sound a little chauvinistic, but so many times too, it's difficult, for a woman maybe to understand a man's passion for golf, or if it's taking time away from the family, or for sports, a different type of sporting event. And that can work in reverse for women in different areas. But I want to talk about how important it is to support the people you love in their passion. Don't be selfish, and maybe just because you don't like it or you think they should be, not doing it because it's taking time away from you. You got to think about, hey, maybe I should be supportive of my spouse or my significant other or my kids. If it's, we want to keep everybody focused on a healthy way of whatever good passions are. But I think it's very important to say, you know what? you go ahead and, go golf for 3 or 4 hours and think about, what do you want to do? Then say, okay, honey, and then when you come home, do you mind, helping you take care of whatever the responsibilities are maybe at the house on a different day, because I'm going to go do my passion I'm going to go exercise, I'm going to go dance, I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to go take a nice, hot, long bath with music and put a headset on, and I just don't want to be bothered for an hour.
Well, and I think you've hit on about 3 things in that, which I think are all important. I think, one, you need to communicate that, your needs, to your significant other, whoever it is. And it may be mom who's helping you with the kids, if it's a single mom. Like, I need to do this for me.
And don't get mad. Right. Discuss it where you can say, don't, because I can't believe you're going golfing again, for example. Talk about, you know what, honey, explain what you're feeling, how. That's something maybe if you could touch on for a few minutes. Why are people so afraid to express and say, this bothers me, this hurts me, this makes me feel insecure? We can't address that, and so we bury, and we don't, instead of working on helping to support others with their passions and maybe expand upon ours, we get lost and we bury in this, internal cocoon.
Well, I think we bury a lot of things. I think we bury a lot of our feelings because we don't want to hurt the other person, and we don't want the criticism, and we don't want to be told we're wrong. We live in a society where we want to be pretty perfect. We don't want to have conflict. And I think you don't have to be arguing about something, but I think you have to put everything on the table of what means something to you. And, if you have a problem in the household and your husband wants to go golfing, you might have to say, this isn't going to work for us today. I really need you here. I have to take my mother to the emergency room. I don't care about your golfing right now. But I think you have to balance that as well.
And I think it's so great to support the people that are in your life, and you support them in their passions, they support you in your passions. I think that's so important.
I think it is important, but that doesn't mean you have to do everything together. You can free each other to do your passion. I'll be there for some of the things, but not all of the things. And you can support each other, and you can ask other people to support you. You can have friends that do things with you, maybe not your significant other or your mother or your children, and it works just as well. But you do need to support each other, and that is that connectedness, that you do some of the things together and some of the things you do separately.
As we talk to you about people and the buddy system, because this is a community, or a community lifestyle of a healthy and fit lifestyle, I want to talk about the ands and the buts, because there are 2 kinds of people. The but people that are always, well, I can't because, but you can't, but it won't, but, they're so negative. And then we have the ands who are like, yes, and that would be great, and, let's try that, and let's take it to another level, and. So, start with the buts. What do we do?
The buts are a little more pessimistic, and they see things for what they are, but they see things more of what cannot be. So they make excuses for not being able to do something, and they are a little more negative. They're maybe a little afraid to try something new. But I'd rather focus on the and people, because the and people love everything. And the world is open to them, and they just look at all possibilities. Now, they're going to sift through it and say what is good for them and what isn't, but they are willing to learn, experience, connect with. They look at life as their cup is half full, not half empty.
And when you start to think about finding your passions, I think it's important when you do your internal focus on you. Are you an and person, or are you a but person? And if you're a but person, you can become an and person. It takes a little effort, and it takes a mental focus, But you can turn that around, can't you?
Absolutely, and it does take maybe some talking through it, and maybe a really good friend who reminds you that you're being a little more negative today than she or he would like, and maybe takes a friend to say, come with me and do this. And you might, a butt person might only do it because of the friend at that point until they realize they really like doing it. And that's the other piece of it is, look at everything as an opportunity. That doesn't mean you have to do everything. Because if you do everything, you're not going to have time to do anything else that you really need to do in your life. If you are only doing things because of a friend, it will fade quickly. That's the extrinsic or external motivation. If you're only doing it because a friend wants you to do it, that's not your passion. That's their passion. And it's okay to do some things like that, but you really need to find your passion. That is sustaining. That will carry you through the long haul during the difficult times if it's your own passion.
And let's take an example. So someone that is maybe going to Florida for a vacation and they're like, I want to lose 40 pounds so I can get into a bathing suit and look great. So now they've got some motivation, but that's not necessarily a passion. So I'm going to go on this ridiculous diet, and they're not thinking about a healthy and fit lifestyle. They're thinking about, oh, I don't care what it takes, whatever I have to do, I'm going to starve myself or do whatever. They'll do it for a short period of time. They'll lose a little bit of weight.
And they'll gain it back.
They'll gain it back. They aren't going to necessarily adopt healthy and fit lifestyle. That's a good motivator to say, that can jumpstart me. But as part of doing that, you've got to say, okay, my passion is, and it really is, my motivation and maybe a passion is to look and feel good. Mm-hmm. Because you want to be able to put on that bathing suit.
Right.
But you've got to think about it now, so how am I going to do that? And along the way, find do it for something inside that brings me joy and makes me happy. Not make it this treacherous but journey of all I can eat is, a couple hundred calories a day, or I have to drink this horrible thing, or I can't enjoy life. I have to go for a walk. It'll kill me.
Well, and I think you have to look at everything that's on television today. I mean, you can get any diet you want in the world. All you have to do is at 7 o'clock in the morning, you can flip through the channels. 2 in the morning,
you're right.
In the morning, and there are diets out there, there are exercise programs, and all of them, many of them are very, very good if it sparks an interest within you. I think if you use the umbrella of, I want to be healthy,
yes.
I want to live a healthy lifestyle, that is a wonderful way to look at life. So I want to be healthy physically. So what will fit into that lifestyle that gives me good health and helps me lose the 40 pounds? I want to live a mentally healthy lifestyle. So what will fit into that? Emotionally, what will fit into that? Spiritually. And if you look at those 4 components and you keep healthy lifestyle as the umbrella for all of them rather than just losing 40 pounds, my fear is if you're just doing a fad thing, you're just doing a fad exercise program or a fad diet, it will fade, and those programs go by the wayside, and you're lost.
Right, because you're not doing it for the right reasons. I have never met anybody in my life that told me, never, no, I don't want to be healthy. No, I don't want to be fit. No, I don't want to feel good. Everybody wants it. And I think this is one of the most important steps. Managing stress and finding your passions and figuring how to incorporate them into your lifestyle are the most important steps to start as you think about adopting a healthier and more fit lifestyle.
And we've talked about stress in previous programs. I think stress can kill.
It will.
And I believe that if you do not know how to manage stress, you will be in a very negative position in your life, physically as well as mentally. But I think this is a really new concept, finding your passion.
It is.
I think my generation and your mom's generation had a little bit harder time at finding our passions because of obligations and responsibilities. I think this next generation, they like to do what they like to do, and they have to be really careful to balance it because
Yes.
it can be out of balance. And my feeling is, if anything, if you feel out of control with it or it controls you, it's a little out of balance. And you just need to tweak it a bit. And you need to say, how can I look at that more honestly, not only for myself, but for my family, whether you're married or single, whether you have children or don't have children. You have responsibilities, and so you do have to tweak it if it controls you, if any one of your passions controls you, and you have to look at it honestly.
You know, I'm a big believer in goal setting. So, and everybody can come up with goals way better, easier than they can figure out what are my passions. But if you can find your passion and purpose, it will drive you, and you won't even realize it, to achieve your goals. Because as you're getting fulfilled from within, you feel better, you're happier, you're mentally happier, you're more positive. You know, another thing about the but people, if they haven't found their passion and they're not finding that inner joy, whatever excites them, or they're not able to, experience it, it's hard to be an and if you're not finding some joy in your day, in your in your week, in your life.
Absolutely. Joy and gratitude.
Yes.
Those two together, it's hard to find them if you're a but person. And it's hard to find them unless you know on the inside what motivates you. And you do need to connect with people. That's an important piece of good mental health, is connecting with people. Mm-hmm. Not always do we see each other, but when we see each other, we're in tune to each other, and I appreciate the friendship.
Yes.
And I know I can call on you no matter what I need. And those are the people you want in your life because they motivate you, they inspire you. Mm-hmm. And that's part of having your passion. The people that I know that have figured out what their passion are, mm-hmm. people flock to them. They want to be around them mm-hmm. because they are positive and they are life-fulfilling and life-giving versus being negative. And so people want to be around those people who have a passion.
You're very big on journaling, and I'm a big believer in it, and I'll tell you why I like writing things down, because it puts you in tune with yourself, and you can start to realize you can write down feelings that you may not even realize you're having. For example, it makes you start to think. It forces you, when you've got to write, it forces you to put what's going on in your head onto a piece of paper. You got to think, and you got to get inside yourself.
Not only that, but sometimes you don't know your feelings, and when you're writing, it's your unconscious that comes out. So if I wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, I start writing. It's either writing or watching QVC, and so I decided writing was a better thing to do. And so I will write. And I'm always amazed when I read what I've written that it's like, who wrote that? Because it's my unconscious coming to the surface through the written pen, through the written word. And so that's a wonderful way, when we talked about meditating and figuring out what you would like to do, this is a great way of meditating without sitting and praying or deep breathing. You just start writing, and you will be amazed at what you find out about yourself, because it is the unconscious coming to the surface. I love journaling. And you can ask yourself, what am I feeling? And you can go through several feelings. You can ask yourself, what would I like to do with life, with the next 15 years of my life? There was a nun who wrote Jubilation. She said, when everyone turns 50, they should stop and not work for 2 years. Most of us can't do that. But she said, you really need to say, how do I want to live the next 20 to 30 or 40 years of my life? And I think that goes along with passion. because work interferes with that life-giving force. And so you have to stop and say, I'm going to take some time to figure it out.
It's funny what you just said that, because I will tell you, I'm a person and my work is one of my passions. And I get criticized for that often. So to some people, and I think it's nice to have the opportunity, but if you can enjoy your work enough that you can call it a passion, it's a cool thing.
Oh, that's
and
a
I
gift.
don't just mean my health and fit. And I'm somebody, and this is a great little story. I'm somebody, as you know, I'm in insurance and risk management, went into my dad's business. But the motivation to go into it was, I don't like insurance. But the sun rose and set on my dad.
Right.
And he was my idol. So that led me to find this area of insurance and risk management that I have really developed a passion for, but that I initially thought, oh, I'd never do it. And I think that's an important story for the audience to say there again. Be open and think about, if something's driving you in a little bit of a direction, you're thinking about it, you might not experience and love it as you think of something, but you may be able to tweak it to find an area that you really love about it, and it can bring you great joy and great fulfillment.
Every career has something that you don't like. But if you can find a niche in it that you really love, it can enhance your passion. It can give you energy. And I believe our passions give us energy. Just as you said, you found a niche that you were energized, and now it's become your passion.
Right. Work is a passion.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it. But not everyone has their work that is their passion. You know, in foreign countries, people work, and when they come home, they have their interests that they do other things. So everyone has a different way of doing things.
And I hope people walk away today from the show thinking about passions as being plural, because I have several, but I think the more you can find passion in what you do, the more it propels you to then be able to, and I'm going to go back to how we started, to live a healthier, more fit lifestyle.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about journaling a little bit, because I made some notes, because I'm the spiral, the little spiral notebook queen, because I like different spiral notebooks for different subjects. So my tip today is, if you really want to try this and you're not sure what they are, get a spiral notebook and title it Finding My Passions and My Purpose. And I think you should start with page 1. What makes me feel good? Whatever it is. And what makes me feel bad? Because you need to know what makes you feel bad. So, much as we don't like to have sadness, you need, sadness, but then you can really appreciate happiness. You have to have both. Track the things you like and dislike. There is nothing wrong in liking something, and there's nothing wrong in disliking something. Peer pressure is horrible today.
It is.
How do you tell people, Rose, about, the peer pressure or or whatever? I can't believe you don't like that. What's wrong with you? And the poor person that doesn't like it feels like a failure. Feels like, it smashes their self-esteem. That's terrible.
Well, and I think people that have real passions, it doesn't matter to them whether anyone likes what they're doing or not, because it gives them so much joy, happiness, fulfillment. It fills their cup. So you just have to smile and walk away. I also say to qualify it. So when I journal what my feelings are, and I always do this with my clients, I will say on a scale 1 to 10, 1 being the worst you feel, 10 being the best you feel, when you're doing that activity, what's your number? That helps you qualify it, and you can say, gee, it was only a 2. Why am I doing that?
That's great advice.
Or this was a 10. I was so excited, so I'm going to do more of that. And that journaling, if you do it that way, gives you an indication of, yeah, when I'm around this person, they're butt people, and I feel like a 3. I will still be with them, but maybe not quite as much as my 10 people that I really enjoy being with.
Your and people.
My and people, yes. And I think if you go through life kind of saying, how do I feel right now? 1 to 10. That gives you a barometer, because we don't want to say, gee, I really don't like that person. I really don't want to be around that person. But it gives you a barometer of, gee, they're in my filling up my spiritual cup, they're only filling it up about 2. So I need to fill it up with a little more so I get to 10. And so I may have to fill it up with more activities or other people. And it kind of tells you where you are on an emotional level. It tells you where your balance is. And, you know, I go through all of my 4 things with my people. And if they're at 2 across the board, I went, all right, we got to do something different here. You're at a 2, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How about if we raise one of them up? Which one of those 4 are you willing to work on? So I've said to someone, you're not doing any exercise. Can you, till you come back next week, you just walk 20 minutes or do something. You figure it out, whatever you might enjoy doing, 3 times for 20 minutes. That's all I ask.
And see, that's the critical piece to finding your passions, because if you're going to say, if you're just going to hibernate, sit on the couch, eat the bad snack foods, not make an effort to try, because it takes a little bit of effort to try and say, okay, I'm going to try this. You've got to be open to find, you're not going to find your passion sitting on the couch eating potato chips.
No, but if you like old black and white movies like I do, I will turn one on and I will exercise in front of it. It helps the hour and a half go by, and I have all kinds of little weights and, you know, all these little exercise things that I can sit in front of the TV and do that, watch my movie. The movie goes by quickly, and I am exercising. I'm doing something else for me physically, but I always try to pick a movie that has some sort of a message.
Well, you know, you're bringing up, but this is another great lesson to be learned. If you have a passion for something, like you say, watching TV, now figure out, okay, how can I do something maybe I don't like quite as much
with it?
But with it, and now you've got your little bit of health and fitness in there. Well, you're enjoying a passion.
Absolutely. So you can combine passions.
Yes.
You know, if you like to cook, but your family, your kids are gone, the grandkids aren't coming over to eat your gourmet meals, you might invite some friends over and say, let's do it together. You're doing a connection with friends as well as doing something you really enjoy doing. Women are really great at multitasking, by the way. We can do 2 and 3 things at one time very easily. So start thinking in those terms. Again, open your mind up so you are open to all kinds of possibilities.
And when somebody calls you and says, come over, I want you to cook, and you're like, and I'm a great example of somebody who, if somebody called me to say that, I'll be like, no thanks. Today's world, I'd say, okay. And even if I would at least try the experience.
Right.
Absolutely. See, and this is what I like about journaling, because now you can start to think about and track all the things you've tried, what you haven't tried. You can have your feelings. And I'll tell you what else I love about my little journals. And whether it's business, whether it's something personal I'm working on, or whether it's, you know, like if you're remodeling a room or doing a home, or, I don't know, buying a car, or, you know, whatever. Keeping a nice notes as to how the process is going. I like my journals because then I can go back, and when I'm having like a little bit of a stressful time, or you get a weak moment, or you think, oh, you want it, the hell with it. That journal will motivate you to say, nope, I'm going to stay on track. I'm reading here. Why am I doing this? And especially like with this passion thing, I find, because now when I journal, you know, I write my likes, my dislikes. You know, I'm kind of mastered it because I've been doing it so long. but I find them very powerful to help me to be a better person, to, to stay the course, so to speak, and to accomplish the goals that I want to do that then fulfill me.
Well, I also write in my journal quotations by masters. And, I will go back and read something and it inspires me again. So my latest one is, don't be a gatherer, be a scatterer. So don't just keep gathering things, scatter love and joy and peace and forgiveness. And I think, wow, that's just something I wrote down when I heard it, and I thought, that's a great quotation. So I put quotations, sermons, homilies. Whenever something really is profound, it motivates me. Now, that's one of my passions, so that motivates me maybe more than someone else. But it really does. Any pearls of wisdom, I write in my journal so I don't forget them.
It's fantastic. It's a fantastic way, like you say, to stay connected to yourself.
But you do have to have a goal, and you have to think of what the goal is, and you have to honor that, and honor your goal, and honor yourself, and know you don't have to be perfect at any of your passions. We really, in today's day and age, we want to be perfect. We're forced to be perfect. There's certain professions that you can't be anything but perfect, and we all make mistakes, and we do need to forgive ourselves if we do that, and we need to move forward and just say, this is a passion. I may make a mistake, I may not do it perfectly. It's okay. It's all right to do that.
Exactly. I thank you so much, and like I said, I want our viewers today to walk away with just thinking about what makes you happy, what makes you smile, very positive, think about the ands, try to minimize the buts.
And inspire people as you walk through this life.
Yes, think about who inspires you.
Yes.
And then think about how you inspire others. And believe it or not, I would like you to make sure and put a page in your journal, because whether you realize it or not, I bet you are definitely inspiring others around you, and people don't even realize it.
Well, I think we all do that without knowing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I'm Mary Pepino, and this is Fit for You.